Hello and welcome back. Unfortunately, there has been an error in the sound of the next, I believe, 3 episodes. Yes. The background music was so loud that it overcovered my voice, and I could, for the love of God, not fix it. Because accidentally both my voice and the background music were on the same audio track. So I will watch the video with you and do some post commentary, I guess. So I will start the video now. We in the last episode did get to this mansion, which we in this episode will continue to loot. What am I actually doing at the beginning? I believe I search food. Because we have actually limited food. Oh yes, the cooked meat, I did cook some meat, but it was already rotten. And as you can see, most of the tainted meat is gone, either used or I guess it may have been rotten away. What am I actually doing? That was like, I believe 8 hours ago from my current standpoint. And yes, I spent 8 hours trying to fix the audio. We are, I believe, mutating. Oh yes, I believe we made some slime serum, which we are now applying. If I get to that, I believe I look at my mutations right now. I'm considering, I believe, using Purifier to get rid of some of those mutations. But yes, I don't want to do it because I have full night vision and I really don't want to lose that. And it is way harder to mutate out of that than losing it through Purifier. And yes, we are taking the slime serum and we get, and this was actually quite funny, we got disease resistant, then we got disease immunity, and then we lost disease immunity to gain disease resistance. So yes, we did gain 1 mutation, even though we mutated 3 times. Which I would consider a waste of mutagen, because it would be really good to, mutate 3 times. Positively, of course. At least we did not lose anything to this. Disease resistance makes it harder for us to catch the cold or the flu. It doesn't actually make it harder to catch an infection, like a fungoid infection or something, just like those common sicknesses. Oh yes, we are cooking, so we have some food. Which will get a theme, I guess. Getting food. Surprisingly enough, we are quite far in the game and we are still having some problem. Well, not really, but a reasonable amount of trouble with finding food. But I believe that is more that I don't pick all the food up I could pick up and just leave a lot behind. For example, a lot of dead animals and stuff I don't butcher and, preserve or something. I believe we will every moment start exploring the mansion. I hoped to find a library, and I hope to find in that library some skill books. What also would be nice would be like a bathroom, a small one, with bleach, or maybe a storage room or something with ammonia. But what am I actually doing? Oh yes. We, I believe, made some serum. or dropped stuff up. No, I believe we dropped stuff off. And yes, we find some skill books we actually did not previously have. But I believe none of them are particularly interesting. They're all low-level skill books. 1, 2, 5. Did they actually leave that swimming planet behind? Because we don't have swimming skill. I should have taken that with me. I actually don't remember if I took that. We find some snacks on those counters, which is interesting, because we will actually gain a mood buff from eating snacks, even though they are worth like next to no food. Oh yes, and we find a cooking book, which is highly irrelevant, because we have cooking on 10, I believe. But a cooking book means that we will gain some recipes, and that's nice. And I'm actually checking the table for, well, possible water, because we are actually very thirsty. What I did totally forget is that we are like 2 tiles away from a river. I was like, oh, we really have a water problem, even though I just have to make like a few steps up and then hit a enormous body of water. But hey, and we actually find quite a lot of ammunition and rifles, which is amusing because I believe I will just drop them. We don't really use rifles anymore, I guess, because we don't need them. Even if we encounter like what are they called? Rats and small stuff like vermin or something. We have those slime bullets firing out of the back of a vehicle. So yes. And yes, there was a library. I will check that in the end, I believe, because I first want to explore everything. If I get to that part, I believe I will now drop the, yes, rifles. And the blob feet. The blob feet is actually amazingly heavy. Like, compared to its size, it has like 6 liters of storage space that it takes up, but it has like close to 25 kilograms, over 25 kilograms of weight. So that will probably cause problems with like pulling the vehicle, but we will manage. Am I eating the mallows berry? I eat the mallows berry and nothing happens. Those will actually get quite interesting soon. I believe I now numb all the candy, because dental care is not an issue in the afterlife, or the Cataclysm or whatever. And now I'm looking at a stupendously high morale. I believe I never saw a character that happy, like 124 morale value. It's actually amazing. He has like the time of his life. Everyone is dead, but who gives a shit? Everything belongs to him. I believe actually the mallows berry also gave us a mood buff. I could have on that inventory checked if I took the swimming planet, but hey. We should encounter some zombies, even though they are not really a threat to us. They are quite useful to use for mutagen, at least at our current state, which is like carving for mutagen basically, to propel or descend into slimehood or mutanhood or whatever. And yes, I find more skill books, which I believe some of them we can actually use, like to give us skill. And this is where I get derpy. I'm looking into the crafting menu to look at the recipes for funnels, if we can quickly make one. We are like 2 tiles away from water. What are you talking about? Just continue. Exactly. We encountered some zombies. I believe I will actually, yes. I will yell and drive them to me to get them basically out of complete laziness a little bit closer to the vehicle so I don't have to haul all their meat, even though it would probably have been faster to just kill and butcher them right where they were. But this is quite a little bit more entertaining. Literally taunting them into like carrying their stuff so I don't have to carry it. Yes, quite amusing. Will I actually kill them? I believe so. I hope so. Yes. We actually at this point get rid of zombies really fast. If you didn't notice. We have somewhat high-ish combat stat, and combined with that, with our techniques, that actually is quite potent. So even without like magic symbols and weird slime guns, I guess, we are very capable of taking care of ourselves. Oh yes, now I'm looking at recipes, which will become a little theme. Oh yes, I try to blob glob or make blob glob or however you pronounce that correctly. I believe blob glob is okay, but it sounds stupid. So what do I know? What I don't notice is that it takes like 7.5 hours to... Or did I notice it? Oh. Yes, I'm continuing exploring and will probably do something like crafting at the end. It's stupendously like time consuming to make those blob globes. Again, I would assume it is not quite as hard to make glibber or whatever you want to call it. Basically, mush up all the corpses. But we find more ammunition, which is actually useless, I guess. First of all, we will almost never have the right caliber, and even if we have, actually pulling out a gun and shooting something is probably more cumbersome than just like hitting it over the head with a stick. Oh yes, and I noticed that there is a cave on the map, which is interesting because previously I did not go into caves all that often. I believe there's a possibility to encounter a bear in there, and I don't actually know if there can be anything interesting in a cave. I would assume that there might be like cave systems. I will have to look into more caves to know that. Oh yes, we will grab all that tainted meat, and I will probably make mutagen out of it. It would be the right thing at this point to make mutagen out of it. There's a lot of silverware in this room. And I actually check still the bottles for water, but they're all ketchup, which, okay. I wanted something to drink, so I'm not very thirsty anymore. But I guess rotten ketchup is also okay. We find more potato chips, but I believe no skill books, which is a shame, to be honest. Not that we would need that much more skill books at this point. We are pretty good on skills, especially like the skills we need for CBMs and chemistry and stuff, we are pretty high on. And yes, I will actually grab this 3-liter glass jar, simply to empty it out and use it as a, well, liquid storage container. I'm just curious right now why a glass jar that stores 3 liters of liquid has a volume of 3 liters. Shouldn't it be by definition bigger than 3 liters so it can store 3 liters? But nevertheless, I will take it with me, even though it makes no sense. And yes, it's actually quite light. I believe it is only like 0.2 or something, like kilograms. And I believe I will now eat what? Oh, I drank a lime soda we found, which is a little bit of thirst gone. Obviously we will have to find more, but And yes, I noticed that there's a river 2 tiles away. Yeah. Which actually is, well, a blessing and a curse, I guess. We will have to find a way to cover rivers. I'm currently thinking, I don't believe we will stay long enough in our current, well, semi-permanent base to warrant a boat. But boats are kind of interesting, at least to me. The problem is just I don't believe we can bring vehicles over water on boats. We may be able to turn a vehicle into, like, boat, amphibic, whatever, but I would have no idea how to do that. I mean, there are some flotation devices which we could probably, like, put on the bicycle, but I have no idea if it wouldn't just, like, sink like a rock once I put it into the water. So that's a question for another day, I guess. I believe this is the last actual zombie, and yes, there were cannabis seeds on that corpse and I did not take them. We are a drug-free environment here, and I believe I actually missed a room down there. Silly me. I believe yes, I just take a look up there and open the last doors, look behind like the last rooms, and now check the library. Nothing here, I believe. I believe we find 2 books. If we look around, it's actually quite useful that we now have so many skill books in our base, because that means basically everything that is red is something we did not yet have. Not that we have. I misphrased that, I believe. That we have so many skill books red in our base, like they are laying there, we know that they are there, and they are recognized by our character that he already knows what it contains. We can pretty easily distinguish between new skill books and old. Yes, I believe I will quickly take a look at all of them. This one I believe was tailoring. There are some recipes in there that I find somewhat interesting. The AEP suits, for example, I have no idea what that is. The chitinous armor? The insect armor, whatever, is probably not very useful, but strange enough to check out, I guess. And this is a mechanic skill book, which will actually be somewhat useful, because the mechanic skill I don't know how high it is right now for us, but I believe I will check. The mechanic skill is actually interesting because I believe he helps you install CVMs. And while a lot of our... Oh, I look at recipes. While a lot of our CVMs have a very low failure chance, there are some that I have still like 20 or something failure chance, which I want to bring down quite a bit. But how to do that, we will have to look into that later. A very low skill electronics skill book, I believe, with some recipes actually. I believe some of the recipes may be interesting, but it's a very low skill book. And yes, I did actually again not check if we have the swimming planet book or whatever it was called. I believe I'll look at the rifles, yes. I believe I will actually take them with me, simply so we can at some point use them as target practice to bring our marksmanship up. I'm still not certain how useful that is, but I guess we can just use them, shoot the magazine empty and then throw them into the underbush or something. Like just drop them where we stand. One-way rifles. If I ever want to use that. Still, it's so much more effort to actually pull out the rifle and shoot it instead of just bash his stick and dang and dead. Oh yes, now I notice that we are hopelessly over-encumbered like a vehicle. And then we actually have to pull it. What I don't realize, I could just take all the stuff like out of the thing and into our inventory and then drive. Like it would probably be enough if I take the blob feed into my inventory. I would be over encumbered by quite a lot, by like 16 I believe, but our vehicle would be able to drive, and that is, generally speaking, beneficial. Yes, I will now probably seek through this if I can drop anything. I will not find anything because the heavy stuff on us is bleach and ammonia and blob feed. I don't want to drop the blob feed because we had to acquire blob feed, and I obviously don't want to drop mutagen components. But the more mutagen we make, the lighter we get, because 1 unit of mutagen consumes 2 units of bleach and 1 unit of ammonia. So we will compress quite a lot of weight, like 3 gallon jugs of liquid become 1 gallon jug of liquid. So I will probably continue processing mutagen, like the tainted meat, into mutagen. I believe so. How long does that actually take? It takes 10 minutes to make 1 mutagen. To make 1 blob glob, it actually takes 45 minutes. So mutagen making is actually like somewhat manageable compared to other like recipes. If I ever decide to do it. What am I actually talking about? It apparently takes me forever. We, by the way, have the wet and Cephalopod mutagen available, but for this character I actually planned or hoped to mutate into the slime direction, so I will not like make wet mutagen to turn into a red, because I don't want to be a red, I guess. Even though I love skivas in like Warhammer 40k, for those of you, not for Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy, for those of you familiar, like red people. but not in this game. What actually would have been interesting would be the Chimera mutagen, but I believe you need 3 different animals for that, and we don't have all of them. If we find the correct box, I might be considering taking that mutation tree, but not for now. What I'm actually thinking about, making more? You don't have the... Oh. Yes. We would need 3 blob globs for 1 slime mutagen. That would be... How much would that actually be? That would be over 2 hours per mutagen to make the blob glob alone. We are lucky that we found the slime pit and that we are on the way to it, because that alone would save us a lot of time, especially because we can actually turn blob glob into mutagen and that then into slime mutagen. I actually don't know how much we would need for everything. Oh, and I spot a blob like quite far away from the slime pit and I'm confused. What does it do up there? Are there random blobs on the map? And then I see a manhack, which indicates to me there's either a dead scientist, a zombie scientist, or scientist site around. It's, as you can see by the clean suit on the screen, like in a second, it's a scientist site. And as you can see, our turret is quite happily killing everything. I really wanted to kill them with like my hands, but the manhack did die, the blob did die, there's a big blob up there, but yes, the turret is quite effective. Yes, because even the slimes with like 3 phases just get killed. It's actually empty because it shot 20 times. But I don't believe it shot 20 times on those enemies. I believe it shot 20 times like with the zombies at the mansion combined. And we now have like roughly 20 blob glob in front of us, which is like that would be like roughly 14 hours of work for our character. So it saves us a lot of waiting. Imagine we had to do that all of like tainted meat. 14 hours in game would like be a good 10 minutes in an episode, and well, I could do it off screen, but it would be like also a lot of work. So I'm quite happy for this. We actually find the dead scientist and get power storage CVM and an internal storage which I don't want and cannot like use for anything. So we'll take the power storage CVM. And by the way, as you can see in the disassembling this item, whatever, you can get plutonium cells from power storage CVMs. So if you don't plan to use CVMs and you have, for example, a mini reactor or power armor suit or an advanced unified power supply or something, an advanced UPS I believe, you can disassemble power storage CBMs in favor of, well, plutonium cells. I will make more mutagen out of the dead scientists, which is strange. And I don't actually remember, I should at some point start making slime mutagen. Which I hope will be more effective than the slime serum we did take, and that gave us like 1 mutation. Oh yes, we found an extra battery mod and a science ID card, which opens up doors, literally opens up doors for our character to make another science lab. Even though we did not quite finish the last one. A new science lab does not only mean more loot, it also means I take an e-ink tablet for reading and stuff, like mood buffs. It opens up. I confused myself. It opens up the possibilities of more map, like uncovering, which is good because if we find a lab, especially in the direction we are currently exploring into, we will probably find a city. Because of the lay of the world that indicates that there is a city up there. I'm considering this clean suit, and I believe I will actually take it because it will provide protection against radiation, and well, the 10 environmental protection are quite nice. And yes, I took it with me. Yes. And we will, I believe, yes, take the rest of the blob. This was quite a good find for random, like, blob. 21 for like something that is not a slime pit is pretty good in my book. But I believe I will have to end the episode here. So, goodbye and, well, have a wonderful day.